Welcome back to LCF. The World Cup Final is finally here, and I don't think we could have asked for a better final. We've got Spain versus Argentina, the best footballing side against the reigning defending champions. Possession against resilience. We've got the new generation against Lionel Messi in what I would expect to be his last World Cup appearance. There's many storylines, but as always, I'm here to break down the key battles in what could decide this final. So let's get into it. Let's start with Spain. Now, I have to give Spain enormous credit for the way that they dismantled France in the semi final. I, like many, fully expected France to come out victorious in that one, but I think Spain, they really did impress me, and I'm going mad that I didn't back them because I did have them as my pre-tournament favourites. But what really impressed me about Spain was how good they were off the ball. I think it was their defensive organisation that just looked outstanding for me. And I think Luis de la Fuente, the Spanish manager, I think he deserves enormous credit. We always associate Spanish teams like with tiki taka, possession football, very good at passing basically the game away from you. But I think what we saw in the game against France was their ability to stop the transition threat. They were always in the right place to snuff out any danger, whether it be Rodri, Kubarsi, and especially Laporte. I think he deserves a bigger mention because I just felt there was numerous times in that game where he was just constantly in the right position to snuff out any danger. I think it can't go unnoted that still they've only conceded one goal in the competition to date, which is just a remarkable achievement. Before the semi final with France, I highlighted a potential area where Spain could hurt the French. And I think in that match, it played out exactly as what I was saying. Dani Olmo, he was constantly getting in the pockets, getting on the half turn, and driving at the French, which they left a load of space. Like the France, they tend to press high quite aggressively, and it was just leaving the space for Dani Olmo to receive the ball on the half turn, and get at the French before an Upamecano or Saliba or whoever could step out. And we saw it with the second goal that Spain scored. There was a nice piece of play between Pedro Porro, Rodri. The ball comes to Laporte, and you can see Kone, the midfielder who came on in the second half. He's trying to press Rodri. He's completely unaware that Dani Olmo's after pulling onto his right shoulder, and he's left Olmo in so much space. Olmo drives at the ball. I think there's a couple of phases before it eventually falls to Porro, who then combines with Olmo, and Porro takes his goal well to double Spain's lead. But it was just a constant theme throughout the game, I felt, was those pockets, and just they ask questions of teams like, if I'm going to position myself here, what are you going to do about it? It's just these different kind of rotations, these different like positional changes that just make them so dangerous. Rodri, I think he deserves a special mention because I think he didn't start the tournament that well. He got criticised for his game against Cape Verde, but he's definitely getting back to his best. If he's not at his best, he's close to it, and he's dictating games, he's controlling games, dictating the tempo. And I think Argentina, in this game, they're going to have to do something to try and stop his influence on the game, because generally when he's influencing the game by possession and controlling the game, then Spain tend to dominate games. I think Lamine Yamal, I still see him as Spain's spark, and I think he's had quite an indifferent tournament. I don't think he's had the best tournament, and even in the game against France, I personally don't think he had the best game. I actually thought Lucas Digne done well against him. I know he gave away the penalty in that moment, and that's where I will give Yamal some credit because he was very clever in reacting to the Digne mistake there. But Overall, in the game against France, I didn't see him on the ball much. I think there was 2 times that he got beyond Digne, but he was offside on both occasions. But he's definitely getting better as the tournament goes on, and I think a lot of it mirrors Spain as well in terms of getting better as the tournament goes on, because it's all good, starting the tournament well, like France did, winning every game and looking dominant. But it's how you finish a tournament. It's about peaking at the right time, and I think the Spain team are peaking at the right time. Now, I'm gonna get to Argentina next, and for me, I I genuinely take so much inspiration to the way that they represent their country. I've said throughout the tournament, if you've watched the videos, that I think they turn into a different animal, a different beast when they put on that blue and white Argentina shirt. But I'm actually going to even go further with it now, in the sense that I feel like when they put on that jersey, it's like they're soldiers on a mission, and it's not even like it's a jersey that they're putting on. It's like a war vest, because it just feels like when the chips are down, they just go up a gear. They are prepared to leave absolutely everything out there on the pitch. And I think genuinely they'd rather collapse on that pitch than lose. It's like it's more than just a game for them. I think we saw in the game against England different sides to Argentina. We saw the dark side, the, I suppose, gamesmanship, a bit of the dark arts, the constant fouling. Simeone, I don't know how he didn't get a yellow card early in the game, because it was just foul after foul that he was committing. But when they went to goal behind, I think we saw the footballing side to come out, and their football was a lot more purposeful, and it was a lot more dominating. And every time that they attacked, like, it looked dangerous and it looked like they could score. Once again, Lionel Messi, he's just contributing again. Like we saw in the game against Egypt, it was very similar to the game against England. He noticed that the spaces were so tight there in the centre, so he hung out to the right hand side, started delivering cross after cross, and we saw it with the winning goal. Like the England players there, I don't think they could have, like, you want to show Messi onto his right foot, but even on his right foot, he delivers just a pinpoint cross to Lautaro Martinez there. And like, Argentina aren't the tallest of sides, so the delivery has to be spot on. And man, can he whip a ball in. And when you attack the ball the way that Argentina do, like, it's just absolutely quality. I wouldn't be surprised if Scaloni just makes one change. I could envisage him bringing in Rodrigo de Paul for a Simeone. Not that Simeone played bad in the last game. I think he had a role in that match. It's more horses for courses, I think, in the fact that, he was up against Jed Spence in the last game, who's not really an adventurous fullback. He was there to do a job. I think in this game, Cucurella, he's, going to be bombing forward a lot more than what Spence would do, and he really does maintain the width for Spain there. So I could imagine Rodrigo de Paul coming in to try and maybe counter that threat. What I've seen from Argentina so far is that they very much like to set up in a 4-3-3 in possession, and then it's more a 4-4-2 out of possession. Lisandro Martinez and Romero, they very much split wide. Paredes drops in to create a tree and build up. I think Tagliafico, you often see him high and wide on that left side, and he very much is the man equipped to keep the width for Argentina on the left. Molina, he very much has license to join the attack on the right-hand side, but he does it from a deeper position. And Messi, we know he likes to drift in that kind of right half space, with Alvarez coming off the left and moving more centrally also. I see a lot of similarities in the way that both teams like to use their fullbacks, because I think on the other side for Spain, Cucurella, he's very much the guy that keeps the weight for Spain on that left. He's high and wide, and similarly, Pedro Porro has license to join the attack from a deeper position. For me, the question is, do they try and go toe-to-toe with Spain? I don't think you can go toe-to-toe with Spain in terms of a pure footballing sense. I think they'll realise that. I think they'll, let Spain have the ball. And I think that is the right approach. I'd fully expect Argentina to maybe try and be compact, reduce the spaces, and then quickly counter when Spain commit bodies. And we've seen that with Argentina in the games against Egypt, against Switzerland, where it's just fast breaks and devastating counter attacks. And that's been a huge strength of theirs from what we've seen already. There's just there's fascinating battles all over the pitch. I mean, we're going to be looking at Paredes. Can he limit the space for Olmo in the pockets? I think McAllister, he's going to have a very crucial role if he starts again in the same role that he had in the last game. He very much is the left-sided player in a 4-4-2 off the ball, so he's going to have to help Tagliafico on that left-hand side. I mean, every single area of the pitch, there's just battles all over, and I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Argentina do to try and disrupt the rhythm of a Rodri in the middle of the park, because everything does flow through him. Finally, the prediction. I'm honestly torn on this, guys, because part of me wants Spain to win because I said them pre-tournament. I had them as my favourites and I backed them to win. On the other part, I think I just want to see Lionel Messi get another one. Look, I know he won it in 2022 and we all wanted him to win it, and we can all kind of, rest easy now that he has won it. But I just love for him to go out in a way where his final chapter for his country is lifting yet another World Cup and going back to back with it, with something that we haven't seen in over half a century of football. I'm going to back Argentina to edge it, Argentina to lift the World Cup again. So that's the preview for the final, the World Cup final. And I think it's been an incredible few weeks, near enough month and a bit now, of World Cup football. I just wanted to thank, though, everyone that has supported me on the channel, that has liked the videos, that has commented on the videos, and I hope that you've enjoyed them. I've really enjoyed making them. Thanks for following me on this journey. Subscribe for some more football content. There's plenty more going to be coming your way. I hope you enjoy the final, and I'll see you on the next video on Let's Chat Football.